NIKO IGDX Conference 2022.
Can you introduce yourself, guys?
Sure. Hi, I'm Chow. I'm Games Production Director at Riot Games, and I'm visiting from our Singapore development studio.
Hi everyone. Talk about the game market and landscape size. So, just to want to kick off the discussion, we used to buy games for like, for example, $60, and then we get to enjoy it from the start to the end. But right now, players has a lot of options. There are Freemium, and then there are DLC microtransactions, and also Game Pass, which is really huge right now. And
Minus China and also India. So in 2021, we estimated that there are around 700 million gamers in this region, and it will also increase into like around the highest ARPU, or the average revenue per users, are definitely from like richer places such as like Korea, Japan, and Singapore. But then the fastest growing markets are from Indonesia, India, Thailand, and Vietnam. But if you add China into the mix, then the number will multiply even higher, because China itself contributes more than $50 billion in revenue from the gaming industry and 600 million of gamers. So the number will be as high as you can see in the screen, $81 billion in revenue and 1.4 billion of gamers in Asia. And games is actually one of the biggest, if not the biggest, mobile, and around like 18% for PC. And if we look into like specific markets, such as these ones are the high ARPU markets of Japan, Korea, and Chinese Taipei, you can see that the PC game revenue for premium games are still quite high compared to mobile game revenue. The share of female gamers across the years are always increasing. We saw that Indonesia gamers are around 20% female, but then when you compare all of Asia, around 35% of the gamers are female, and the numbers are higher in certain countries such as China. And female gamers growth between 2022 and 2021 alone. And then female gamers in general are also playing mostly on mobile, and according to our research, mostly are playing like casual or like simple games instead of like hardcore games. Another important driver is how active Asians are in social media. So according to the data from Twitter, 6 out of 10 countries in the world that talk about gaming the most are from Asia, with Japan, South Korea, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, and India being like 6 most active countries in the world who talk about gaming online. And then we can move on to Indonesia in specific. So all of this information are available for free in Kominfo's website, but some of them I will put here. So for example, as most of you will understand, most Indonesian gamers are playing on smartphones, and they spend like more than 11 hours per week to play on their smartphones. And the sad reality is, for the console, almost 90% of Indonesians claim that they never play console. And so yeah, it's a long way. And another interesting point is about pirated games. So in the past, some of you who are above 30 maybe remember that like 99% of our games are pirated games. But the situation has changed. Last year we asked more than 1,000 Indonesians and gamers, and they said that only 54% are still playing pirated games. And when we correlate this to the situation that most people are playing mobile games, they don't need to pirate games anymore, and only like 54% are still pirating games. And why are they?
That female gamers are authorized, and obviously the consoles and premium game is still a huge luxury in Indonesia. It's very small people actually purchase this premium game. But one thing that I want to touch is about player behavior. Pass. What does it bring to the market?
The Indonesian scene, so it's awesome to be here. So I think as the data shows, right, it's predominantly a mobile-first market, just simply by the access of mobile devices. But as we can see, there are a lot of people who are interested in international games or games from overseas that they'd like to play on devices such as the PC, and of course console at a very small number. So I think with respect to a value that we can bring to local players in Indonesia, but also players all across the world, given that freemium or free-to-play games on mobile devices are the most easily accessible. We see like game. Yeah, sure. So, you know, the truth is, Xbox is an underdog in the region, but more so, I think consoles in general have a lower penetration in Asia, where mobile and PC are king. And so we feel that Game Pass is our opportunity to broaden the ecosystem in Asian markets, simply because of the access of these games on other devices such as the PC, and hopefully at some point mobile with cloud gaming reaching more markets. So that's one. The second thing that we notice, and we have
about how Game Pass is trying to get access to premium game players. That's really good. In terms of like, as you mentioned, like player behavior, I think freemium is something that, well, first of all, freemium is a pretty big bucket of different things. So I think it's good to clarify. You know, we could be talking about anything from ad-supported games that are free, cosmetics in games. I think some developers have learned to almost kind of like get into the supporting your idol type of games, which I think is a very interesting concept. So there's all these different types where are mostly competitive, and paying for power just doesn't really gel well with that. But I think in terms of freemium, one thing that's done is, along with technology and access, it's really increased the size of this market. It's really helped to drive that, because a lot of people who previously may have thought, games may not be for me, I don't really want to even dabble in it. It's now free, and there's no upfront cost, there's no, you're not stuck into anything if you just want to try it out. And so a lot of people are trying new things, they're trying new genres, and they're opening up the door in order to get into this type of entertainment. I think that's really one of the big benefits of the freemium, the changes recently.
As for the past 3 years, there's been a steady increase of the quality of the free games, right? Because when we talk about free games, right now when we talk about free games, there are also high quality titles. So it's right now players don't really care about the price; they just expect quality regardless of its price.
Right. I think that's actually like a super ironic thing if you look at like economics, right? Supposedly you look at a product, and you know, as the data was shown earlier, the revenue expectations for this genre, for this business model is so big. And nowadays players just look at, oh, this game is free, I don't expect it to be bad. In fact, I expect it to be really good.
Ownership still matters very heavily to a lot of players, whether that's digitally or in retail. High profile brands still command premium. You know, your large studios like Naughty Dog or you know Santa Monica, where they make incredible games and experiences. I think, and of course like Rockstar, you can still command a premium, and people are still paying.
When you're even like, if freemium games can be really profitable, you have to take care of the community. And they're even like having legal issues in Korea right now because of this. So this is like a stark reminder for like any publishers, any developers to always take care of the community and make sure no one goes discriminated.
Yeah, and it's a freemium space, but you gotta know your audience, and you gotta know exactly what your game stands out for. Obviously, you know, I see a lot of farming sims, which is a popular genre, but I tell everyone, lead with what, and I tell everyone, have a look at what's on Game Pass currently, and understand how yours fits into that portfolio of games. Does it
bad sentiment from especially a lot of players. Is it good to release a lot of DLC even
core to the game? Like, if it was, for some games it's cosmetic and there really isn't any other reason to get cosmetic, it's just for fun or just for customization looks, fine. But if your game was all about collecting cosmetics and you take that out and make it for sale, yeah, that does feel bad.
Riot is exciting, and you might hold the excitement until now, or do you might have excitement all wrong?
Okay, well, when it comes to Project L, probably not going to talk anything specific about that, but I'd be happy to share a bit about the philosophy that Riot has when it comes to monetization. So, because a lot of our games are competitive, we make sure that anything that we sell and monetize does not affect that. So anything related to selling power, competitive advantage, we don't do that. And that's kind of our philosophy.
Thank you for your opinion.
Okay, thank you. Maybe just one more question.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for this interesting speech, Mr. Peter. I'd like to ask you in general about your opinion. What is the best way, for example, in this part of the world, because I came here from Poland, and this is a very exotic part of the world for me. I know nothing about your market, about your competencies. What is the best way here, for example, for little game developers, indie game developers, to show their idea of the game in general, to announce the game with platforms, for example, with Rico and thanks.
Social media.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
but
okay. I mean, jokes aside, like I think one of the things I've learned over the years in marketing and working with game companies is that finding your audience for your game is not as hard as you think it is, because those audiences are on communities all around the internet, whether that's Reddit or Twitter or TikTok or what have you. You will be able to find that audience, and the onus is on the developer team to communicate what is that. Of course, in working with publishing partners and investments and VCs and events like this, where you can learn new opportunities for showcasing your game or taking it to events, what I would recommend as other forms of methods. But truly, the best thing I've seen, especially for indie studios, them or a new release of a new character in Valorant, and so it's just a matter of latching onto that community and sharing what it is that you have to share with them, because these guys are generally the ones who will be willing to listen out to what you have to share with them, for sure.
Yeah. And last thing, again, community is very important.
Well, thank you so much for this.